Great. So, good afternoon and welcome everyone for this short webinar about provisioning and how you can transfer your solutions without code. Today, with me, it's Jamie, our product manager. He will support me in the background. If you have any questions, use the chat to ask them, and or raise your hand. We can also unmute you because the mics and the cameras are locked. Yeah, and there will be a recording sent out at the end of the webinar. Yeah, and myself, I'm Chief Product Officer at Skybow, and I will guide you through the topic today. So let me also announce the next webinar, which will be held on January 11th. This time we're going to talk about form logic, so all about logic you can add to your forms. You can already register down here using the QR code. Yeah. Good. Keep it for some seconds. There's one other webinar that we held before about the form designer. So we really want to have separate webinars for specific topics. Okay. Good. The topic provisioning, it's actually two buzzwords which we hear quite often today. It's application lifecycle and change management, and that's the core of one of our core functionality that we've built into our platform. Because we think nowadays it's very, very important to have a good change management for your solutions. So, which is really the key for rapid development and making good solutions. So you're not going to specify a complete solution upfront and develop it. That's how you did it in the past. So today we really make it agile, and it's easy to talk to the customer, to the business, discuss changes, and then it's really important to be quick and fast in rolling them out, and that's the topic of today. And with the Skybow platform, we have really an embedded packaging and provisioning engine, which I'm going to show you today. It's all very simple with wizards which guide you through the whole process, and yeah, no code is needed. It's not low code, it's really no code. Just some examples. If you create a new package, and I will tell you later what I mean with a package, what's included, etc. But to create a new package takes 3 mouse clicks, and a package is also directly a version, or to make versions of your solution, and this is then the life cycle of a solution. So you can make different packages, and you can deploy them to different sites in different versions, and yeah, to create a package within 3 clicks and to deploy it in 6 clicks. So quite easy, we will see that. And it takes you just a couple of minutes to make an update of an existing solution or deploy a new solution somewhere. So that gives you a very, very easy possibility for staging. So if you have different stages, like you have production and a test site and the development site, and so you never again have to implement your changes directly in the production site. You can do that in a safe place in a test or development site collection, and maybe you deploy it directly in production, or you have one stage in between for testing. So you deploy to test the test environment or the test site, and from there maybe a broader group of people can test these solutions, and if it's all okay, then you deploy it to production. This is also good for to test the whole deployment itself. So if you deploy to production, maybe if you do it directly, maybe there's something missing. And if you deploy first to test environment, then that's also something you can test with this approach. So how will this work? Let's assume you're developing a solution A, and then one day you create your first package, give it a version, and then you deploy it to any site. Later on, you're doing changes. You make another package and the next version, and the numbers you're free to define. And now you can whether update an existing deployment, or you can even deploy this package or package 1 to another site. On the same tenant, on another tenant. It's all really flexible. We will see that later on in the demo part. Then you make further changes. Maybe you make a package 2.0, deploy that somewhere else. Now let's assume customer 2 is just another tenant or another environment. You can deploy there as well. That's technical information that we all use. For that we use the PNP, which is a standard from Microsoft. We use that for our packaging, so we don't have our own implementation. Like always, we try to use as much as we can from Microsoft what's there, and not invent the wheel from scratch. Another thing you can do is you can share your solution with additional people that you can all work on this. What we call here is the dev side or the development side. You can share this side or this solution with other people that they can help you to work on the solution. And last but not least, you can also share a package, but that's a topic for another webinar. To create a complete new solution starting with an existing package. But yeah, what can be included in a package? And that's the list of everything what we're going to package. On the one hand, what we call these dossiers, so master detail lists. In the end, those are just lists and libraries which are connected. What we can do in Solution Studio with all its forms, all its views, the column and view formattings. Those are the ones you can add to the views, that they look more pretty. Those are packaged as well. We can also package content of lists and libraries. That's an optional thing. So you can activate to package a content or not. And this also works for libraries. So if you have a library with folders and files in there, you can also say package the content and it will come along. The default is not activated for that case. Then of course all our background features that we have, the calculated fields, the schedule, the triggered actions will be included. Pages, if you add modern pages or wiki pages to the solution, are packaged. We have a place to upload images as well, and the images are packaged. The navigation can be packaged, site logo, site footer, and also permissions. So for each list and for the site itself, we can have the permissions packaged, meaning SharePoint groups and roles. So the standard roles, if you add additional roles, what I mean with roles is this full control, contribute, and read. Those are the standard roles, but you can have additional roles. Maybe you create one contribute without delete. That's a very common one. If you add this, you can also package this that it comes along. But let me show you this directly in the system. Therefore, I'm going to Solution Studio. I will take my expense demo case. I will open it in Solution Studio. And what we see here is that we have these three sections up here, or these three modes. So we have the build mode, where you build your solution. Then we have a package area and the publish area. And now it's everything we are going to add here on the left side, what we call the solution elements, will be packaged. So all the lists, these dossiers, this will be packaged. And if you have additional lists in the side, in the background, which are not in here, they are not packaged. So you really have to add them to the solution to get it packaged. And here you can also see pages. So for example, this start ASPX, it will be packaged exactly as it is. So with all the settings and with all the controls on it. That's the images part. So we see all the images which are uploaded here. The navigation, so I can define which navigation points should be packaged and deployed to the target site. Look and feel is the site logo, and then here are the permissions. So permissions are activated by default if you have a site with custom permission, and here you can activate additional groups. So these are really SharePoint groups and not AD groups. You can activate them here, and then they are created on the target site automatically. Let's assume you use them somewhere in a visible expression to check if someone is in the group expense management. Then you need to have that group in the target site as well, otherwise the check will fail. That's why you have to package and publish it here as well. And of course, all the lists, all the columns we've added here, they're all packaged. The view formatting I was talking about is this stuff here. So this green and blue stuff, that's out-of-the-box functionality. Also this one here, you can add that out of the box, but we take care that it comes along and that it's packaged and published exactly as it is here. Also this banded rows here, or this gray style rows. Now once you're finished with all your configuration, you can simply go to package, and that's where you see all the versions of your solution. So I started creating a version 1000. That's my first package, and then I made some changes. I added an additional list, so I have this 1001 and so on. So we can simply create packages by clicking this new package button, give it a name, maybe you add some description about what you did, you click next and finish. I will not do that right now because it takes 2 to 3 minutes. It really depends on how many lists, how many columns, and how much you have in the solution. So it takes longer or it's faster. So, but this would create a new version up here, and this is your solution versioning. And last but not least, you can go to publish, and here you see all the deployments that you have. So for example, in my demo, I have one. In my case, it's just a site, but it can be really any tenant. As you can see here, I have a skybow tenant where I have 3 deployments. I have a skybow demo tenant with 1 deployment. So that's the overview of where you publish this solution. And what we can see here as well is that we have different versions. So the production is still in 1.4, but my test environment is already in 1.5. So they can be different version. And now I can do two things. I can make a new deployment by clicking on publish down here, and then I can choose from different deployment methods or publish methods. For today I will stay with the direct deployment. We have other deployment methods. I will do another webinar about them, for example the API or the manual installation. Today we stick with the direct to SharePoint side, which is the easiest because we just choose direct, say yes, it's okay. Then I can give it a name and I have to provide a site URL where it should be deployed. And as I said, it can be on any tenant because once you choose the site, you have to provide a user. So for example here, if I take another site, okay, this doesn't exist, but down here you see you have to provide a user. So this user has to have access on this target site or target tenant. If it's another tenant, you can also add a user from another tenant. And here you choose the version to deploy. So you can also take 1000 first, or just take the latest. And after that, there is one step to verify. Let's see if I can do this. Yes. So I'll give it a title test for now. And this step here is important because it will check if you can deploy the content of that package into the target site. It will tell you maybe you have already an existing page with the same name or a list in the target site having the same name, stuff like that. That would be mentioned here. And in some cases you can then force override it, or it's just all good and you can say next and deploy. So after this step, you simply say next and deploy, and it's all done automatically. Also, this verification step will take 2-3 minutes. It depends what has to be checked. That's why I will not do this for today. Another thing is if you have existing solutions or deployments, here we have the test environment. Now my tester said it's all okay. Then I'm able to, or then I can go ahead and say, okay, I will update my production environment, which is still on 1.4. If I select the environment or the deployment, here on the right, in the right panel, I see the update section. And from here I can choose, by default it takes the latest, and I can choose 1.5, clicking on update. And a very similar wizard is shown. It's just all pretty fine because we already did the deployment. So I have the title, it's there. This one is what I've chosen here. There's the link, the URL will stay. The user I could change here as well. I click next. I could start the verification. Yeah, it will take too long. I will cancel that afterwards, and then say next and deploy. And my solution is getting updated within a couple of minutes. So that's how it works in Solution Studio. All integrated, and it takes all the forms, all the actions, everything it takes, and it's deployed. And another thing to talk about is the history, or the for the packaging and for the deployment. We also have a history or a log for the packages. So here on each package we have a log. So you can have a look into the log if you're interested in if there's an error. Here it was all good, but we can also see if there were some errors during the creation of the package. maybe that's not very interesting, but on the publish side, there it's definitely interesting, because here we also have a deployment history. So if we select each deployment, we have a history and we see, okay, version 1 was deployed on, quite a long time ago, more than 2 years. We had version 1.000, and if I click on the version, I see everything that has been deployed. If there's an error, it's marked already here, it's marked red. So we see the errors directly. We don't have to open it. But then you can track down what was the error, what went wrong, and so on. So this history is quite important for the deployment if everything went good or something went wrong. Good. One last thing to show is on each list, I mean, it's taken as it's configured. It's all the columns, all the views, everything from here. So we have forms and views. All of them are in the package. But there's this content configuration. That's something in the background. On each list, in the background, we have this package and publish options. And the first one here is the content flag. So on a list or a library, we can activate that flag here, press save, and the next package I'm going to create will include the items from this list. In some cases that makes sense. If you have some files you want to have in the solution by default, or maybe you have a lookup list with some lookup values, then you can bring them along. Just activate that flag. Same is for permission, so you can activate this flag and then the permissions are packaged. Good. That's a very quick overview of what's possible with skybow and how to do that or how it looks in Solution Studio. Great, then. Thanks for your time and have a nice evening.